much better than a loss. Taylor, good morning.
Good morning, Half. Yeah, it certainly is. It's nice to come in after a win.
Were you confident going in? We get straight to it. Were you confident you could back up the performance against GWS against Carlton?
Yeah, I guess that was the big question. But yeah, I think we were. They started pretty well, Carlton, but we were able to steady the ship and we led. We got back in front at quarter time and played some decent footy, although pretty patchy. We're relatively happy. Structurally,
you're a bit different because Mason came back in, Ben Reid as well. You lost Darcy Moore, so you had one extra big bloke, but structurally you looked much more balanced on the field. Did you, when you see the team lined up, or it names the team on Thursday night or whatever the day is for Bucks, do you look at it and go, that's better for us, that'll work better for us?
Yeah, it obviously hurt us with Darcy going down early in the Giants game. We're just too small up forward. We didn't plan for that. Ideally, we have at least one tall guy up there that can chop Brody out in the ruck, and also a big target to kick to. So having both Reedy and Coxie up there was nice. Obviously, Reedy kicked 3 goals, and Coxie performed a lot better than he did round one, and was great in the ruck and around the ground was really good. So he showed some really good signs. But yeah, having those two big guys up there that give a contest every time the ball's in their area is positive.
Were you a little bit upset because you spent a fair bit of time forward in the last couple of weeks out of the goal square?
No, I'm enjoying that role. It's we've rotated a few of our mids down there. Adsy's gone down there and had an impact. Steele obviously on the weekend, kicked 3 goals. But yeah, we're sort of using that as a bit of a rotation for our mids instead of going off the ground. So I'm enjoying it. It's nice to get a rest down forward.
Well, it's good to see. We've talked about this a lot in the last couple of years, why clubs don't do it more to get some of their premium midfielders who are clearly very good one-on-one players to be able to go to that area of the ground, impact and hit the scoreboard as well. Not only for your sake, to stay involved in the contest, but for the team's sake, because you imagine your best players one-on-one around the contest should be pretty good one-on-one forward of the ball. If you do some work on that, why wouldn't you want to be out there longer with your best players? Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think teams have sort of followed what Geelong have done with Patrick Dangerfield and the Tigers did with Dustin Martin. You're right, getting good players who are really good one-on-one, can create forward pressure and win their own footy. It's close to the goal. It's always going to be positive.
Does Steele like playing down there? Because I've got a theory that if he played as a permanent forward, he'd kick minimum 50, 60 goals a season. But I sense that he prefers to play midfield rather than forward, even though he's kicked 10 in a TAC Cup Grand Final and even what he did on the weekend. That's not abnormal for him to kick 2 or 3 goals in a game.
Yeah, no, I think he'd rather play through the midfield, and I think we'd rather him there, just because his running ability. He defends really well. He gets back and helps out our defenders because he's so fit. But yeah, that role suits him now. That sort of deep forward where you don't have to run as much, get a rest, and he's pretty crafty down there, as we saw on the weekend. But I think he kicked 2 of his goals from the midfield. So he got that one on the lead from he was kicking down. He was playing down forward, but he runs so hard up and back, covers so much ground, but he can always become damaging on the scoreboard.
Do you feel that he's a little underrated as a footballer? I think he's I'm not sure whether he's lived in the shadow of Scott Pendlebury and even maybe to a point Adam Treloar as the gun recruit. Of course, Taylor Adams is the gun recruit. But I don't know, I just feel that we don't quite appreciate how good he is.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I think because Pendles has been so good for so long, Steele's sort of a little bit underappreciated, but inside the club he's valued obviously immensely. We see a lot of stuff that you guys wouldn't see. As I said before, his ability to get back and support our defence. Hits the scoreboard all the time. He's so clean, creative. Yeah, I think he's underrated. He's never been All-Australian, which surprises me. And maybe this is his year.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Now, take us onto the field. You're playing Friday night footy. You haven't won a game and Carlton get the jump on you. Now, supporters start to panic a little bit about, oh no, surely not. On the field, do you have those same emotions, or are you so in the game that you're just letting it unfold and get yourself into a groove?
It was difficult on Friday night. Well, you can't say that you don't worry. You think, oh, what's going on? But the midfielders knew that it was all contested ball. They were smacking us. It was like we're down -20 in the first 5 minutes, which is unheard of. So the runner sort of come out and mentioned that to us, and we sort of picked it up a little bit and just said, let's lock down and need to get a centre clearance, get the ball moving forward, and we did. And we kicked the goal from it. From there, we're only goal down, so we thought, all right, we're good to go here. Let's just keep foot on throat and keep the pressure up around the ball, and we'll be fine.
So take us into what changes week to week. You obviously lose the first 2 games, and albeit that your second game against GWS was very good. Did you guys look at what was going wrong? Did you look at changing something? And take us in probably to the pressure of playing at Collingwood and losing the first 2 games of the season, and some of the noise that is really created for no reason.
Yeah, I think the round 1 was certainly, or hopefully, an outlier for us. Round 2 was a very different game. We came with the right intent. We pressured the Giants. We were in the game until 20 minutes into the last quarter against probably the best team in the comp. We were 2 down on the bench, so we're relatively happy with the game against the Giants, albeit we didn't win the game. So the game against Hawthorn was obviously really deflating for the group. You know how it works, Ram. You sort of review the game and then move on as quickly as you possibly can and put a plan in place to come out and perform the next week.
So the question I'm sort of asking, if you lose the first 2 games of the season, do you start to question your structures and your processes of what you've been practicing so long through a pre-season, or do you stick fat with what you know and go, no, hang on, it is going to work, we just need to be patient?
No, we're pretty confident it's going to work. Against Hawthorn, we saw that we just didn't do a lot right. We didn't play to our structures enough. Guys didn't play their roles enough, and that's why we lost the game. Against the Giants was vice versa. Guys played their roles. We stuck to our structures, and we had a relatively positive result. As I said, albeit we didn't win the game. So, you look at in reviews, you look at players being out of structure and where things are going wrong and how the opposition score. And against the Giants, there wasn't a whole heap to really worry about. We were pretty positive in our review, and we were confident going into the Carlton game that the structure and our game style holds up.
So what are the key indicators for your group at the moment that okay, we need to perform this to be at our best? Is it forward 50 tackles? Is it around the contest? What are the indicators so on Friday night when we're watching against the Crows, we can say, okay, Collingwood are on again tonight?
Well, I think our brand of footy, it's really obvious when we're playing it well, and it's we're a strong contested ball side who put a lot of pressure on the opposition if they did win the ball. We like to lock the ball in our front half and try to score off re-entry. When we're playing really well, we bounce out of the half back and we move the ball fast but effectively, and we get the ball into one-on-ones in the forward 50. And I don't think our game style is too different to a lot of the teams out there, but it's just a matter of executing it, more often than not.
One of the things that's happened so far in 2018 is the ruckman. The sole ruckman has emerged as one of the most critical components of a good team. With Maxi Gawn's obviously having an impact at the Ds. Even Stephen Martin's performance on the weekend was unbelievable. We know about Nat Nui's influence on the game against Geelong late on Sunday at Optus Stadium. Brodie Grundy, his performance again on the weekend for you guys was out of this world. Had you planned for the one ruck to be such a prominent part of the game in 2018, or for your game in 2018, or is it just the way that things have rolled with Mason being out for a week or two, or a week with the suspension, and that's just how it had to be?
Well, I think Brodie was always going to be our number one ruck.
Yep.
Because we feel that Mason can definitely have an impact up forward. But yeah, the way Brodie started his season doesn't really surprise us internally, because we see all the work he puts in and what he does at training. But yeah, wow, that battle on Friday night was so good to watch up close. And I even said that to Brodie after the game. I said, you can't help but respect Cruz, for the way that he goes about it. He puts his head down and just gets to work. And I think Brodie took the chocolates.
No doubt he did.
Yeah, so I was like, you've played an awesome game, and it's so good to see, and it's good to know that ruckman is still an important part of our game. There's obviously been some question marks over that, but I think there's 4 or 5 really genuine ruckmen in the comp that are match winners, and Brodie's one of them.
He is, and he's got the thing about it now. The ruckmen seem to be covering the ground a lot better, and he's obviously a guy that can influence general play as well. Is that something that you knew he would be able to do when you first saw him, or is this a layers that he's added to his game through his career?
Yeah, I knew Brodie as a junior. I played against him growing up, and I knew that the best part of his game was his follow-up work and his ability to become an extra midfielder.
Yeah,
I think the challenge for Broads was to get an engine or a tank that allowed him to do it for a full game, and he's as fit as he's ever been now. He's a big, strong boy, but he's covering the ground really well, as you said. And I think we've heard Max Gawn say on this program that he had to shred down a few kilos to increase his running power, and I think Brodie's done the same. He's as lean as he's ever been, and it's certainly working for him.
It did seem, and I'm sure some of you, a few of you guys did, really affected by the Tim Broomhead situation last week, because he lives with Tim. Is that?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Did he require some picking back up after that to get his bubble back up, or was he okay from that once he got his head around the fact that Tim had really hurt himself?
Yeah, it's sort of a weird one. I was sort of in the same I guess mind frame of Broads, just in shock.
Yeah.
Saw the vision obviously on the big screen, and one of the physios said that he'd broken both his tib and fib, and so it was. Yeah, it's obviously never good. It's like when your teammate doesn't need you, you're shattered for them. So yeah, I think we almost used it as a bit of motivation, like just, all right, that's it. He's put his body on the line. Let's get on with it. But we were so in the zone on that Saturday against the Giants that I don't think it really affected too many of us.
I reckon Grundy's been a bit of a slow burn in people understanding how good he is. Because when you look through his record, like he's averaged 18.5 disposals the last 2 years. He's someone that isn't just a ruckman. He is like that extra midfielder. He does win his own ball in the contest. But I think it's taken us a while to work out how good he is.
He's only 23.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. But I reckon he's been good for quite a while. I just think it's slowly. He's slowly being recognised for his efforts, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's come off the back of consistency.
Yeah,
like his last 2 years. Well, he's finished top 5 at best and fairest in the last 2 years. So internally, he's obviously really rated.
Yeah,
and we had a decision to make with Jarrod Witts and Brodie Grundy about 2.5 years ago. And you go and you see how well Witts is going up at Gold Coast. He's having a real impact up there. So there's no doubt that we had 2 AFL ruckmen ready to go, and obviously the club stuck with Brodie, and it's paid off for him.
I reckon that's a good point. I think there was always the juggle of trying to play both of them, but when he became just the man, he's probably gone to another level. I know we've got to get to a break, but I want to ask you about Josh Thomas, because I know you're close to Josh. 5 goals. It was almost like a breakout game for him. He's that one that's on your list that is becoming a genuine important midfielder for you, that you're finding someone from within that's making you better. I know that you'd be pretty proud of what he did, considering what he's gone through.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd ask about Josh, because Friday night was certainly a reward for effort for him. It's obviously been a tough 3 years for him and his family, and for his mates. So we think he's a star inside the club, because we see it all the time. But to go out and kick 5 goals and start the year like he has, it gives us real good promise. And as you said, I'm just really proud of him. I think he's a great person. He made a mistake and he's come back better, and he's starting to repay the faith the club had in him. And Friday night wasn't the first time he's done it, but it's probably the biggest statement he's made.
Is he a different person now with what he's gone through? Does he see the world differently? Does he see football differently?
It's probably a question I have to ask him, but I don't think he's changed too much, to be honest. I think as I said, he's a really good person. Always has been. He just made a mistake, and he's doing all he can now to repay the faith.
And what you saw on Friday night, I reckon, as you said, was reward for effort. His summer's been enormous.
Huge.
Absolutely enormous, from what I've seen. And even that practice game, the intra-club that I watched the Pies play, he was outstanding. I've been waiting for him to do something like that, Josh Thomas, and we saw it on Friday night. Hopefully, for Magpies fans' sake and for his sake, it's a sign of things to come. Steve-O not too far away with all the latest news. After 8 o'clock, Cam Meyer after his gold on the time trial up there on the Gold Coast yesterday, and then Dave Colbert from Channel 7 with a bit of commentary analysis on what's happened so far in the Com Games and what will be happening today. But Taylor Adams from the Magpies is with us in the inner sanctum of the Collingwood Football Club this morning after the win against Carlton, the old foe, last Friday night. They head to Adelaide this Friday night to take on the Crows, the Grand Finalists Crows from last season. When do you go, Taylor? It's Friday night, so there's plenty of time Friday to go. When do you head across to Adelaide?
We'll go over tomorrow mid-morning and have a run around on Adelaide Oval tomorrow afternoon, and hopefully get a few fans down to the ground to come watch the boys have a run around. Are there any
venues you go on the day, or do you always travel the day before?
We always travel the day before. We only play the 5 interstate games, so we always go the day before. So
what do you do on the Friday? So this week, you go Thursday mid-morning, you have a session Thursday afternoon, have a feed, have a massage maybe. What happens Friday? How much structure is there?
There's nothing planned on Friday except be on the bus at whatever time, 4:30, and be ready for the game. So guys, go see a movie or have a nap, play PlayStation, go to the casino.
Go to the casino.
Can I come?
It's just around the corner there in Adelaide. It's an easy spot
Next
to
door is
find.
a great spot.
You would have been there plenty of times, right?
When you go out when you have your dinner the night before, do you all eat as a team, or do you all just go to restaurants?
No, so at the hotel they put on a feed for us, so it's all there for players to utilise. Otherwise, do your own thing, and it's heaps of freedom.
So where Wednesday you got training today?
Yeah, main day today.
Main day today. So what does your main training session involve today? Do you do an opposition analysis? Do you take us through what your morning's going to be like?
Yeah, so we'll roll into the club, do our injury prevention sort of stuff, and tick off with the physios, and then into oppo analysis, which will go for half an hour or so. Get ready to train, and we're out on the track for probably an hour and 15 minutes. We'll do some really basic skill work, and then some 18v18 to sort of get ourselves ready for what we think the Crows might throw at us.
See, I'm surprised that you say only a half-hour meeting about the opposition. Is there an element of responsibility for the players to know about the Crows before you go into that meeting, to kind of know how they're playing, who's playing well, who's not, all that sort of things?
Yeah, we get information sent to us probably 2 days before our opposition analysis, and so you sort of, I guess, go through that. But we do line meetings. Guys do individual tapes with their line coaches, so it's a fair bit of information that gets thrown at players.
Is there still guys that don't watch a lot of football, a lot of the opposition? They're happy to play and that's it, really? But
yeah, there is.
I know when I played, there was guys that just never watched other games.
Yeah, there certainly is. It's probably a 50-50 split, really. We've got some real footy heads at the club. Then you got guys who they're happy to sit through the half an hour meeting and that's it. They think they're ready to go. So, yeah, obviously very different personalities and different things work for them.
That's the way it works. Yeah. It's the only way it works, I reckon. If you had all the same, I don't think it would work.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Now, Jordan De Goey. I remember talking to you about Jordan De Goey at the start of last year, and I heard you when you asked about him this year after his latest indiscretion. How's he been since he's come back into the club?
He's been really good. He's trained really hard. He's in good nick physically, and he's playing good footy. It's obviously, I think that's the easy bit for Geordie, and the challenge is going to be in 6 to 8 months' time. And I think he knows that, and he did a lot of work away from the footy club with less privileged people, and I think he understands that he's in a really lucky position at the footy club, and hopefully he doesn't take it for granted.
You were really hurt by what happened this time around, weren't you? About the trust being broken and all that sort of thing, because you had a lot to do with him last year as one of the leaders of the footy club. How hurt were you, and how long does it take to get that trust back?
Yeah, we're disappointed, obviously, with what Geordie did. It's hard to put a time frame on it. I think he's certainly gone about it the right way. He hasn't put a foot wrong since. But as I said, I think we'll judge him in 6 to 8 months' time. We're hoping that he just comes out and plays some really good footy now. His off-field stuff seems really good, and he seems like he's got a good balance. So as long as he's in a good space and he comes out and he can perform well, then I think we're pretty happy.
Does he know how good a player he is? Does he know how important he is to the Collingwood Football Club, do you think?
Probably not yet. I don't think he realises how good he could be. He knows he's got talent, but how much talent, I'm not too sure. I think we've seen a spike in his work ethic and his maturity over the last probably 3 months, which is it's positive, yeah.
Will he continue to work with the underprivileged kids throughout the whole year? Because I think we see a lot of times when guys, they cop a suspension from the club, they do it for a 4-6 week period, and then they don't do it for the remainder of the year. Will he continue on with that work?
Yeah, he is. So he's been doing a lot of work with the Salvos, and Brendan Noddle down there, who's he's always in at the club. So Geordie goes in there once a week and does like their soup kitchen. Good. And that was, he put his hand up to do that off his own back. Obviously, the club are really happy that he decided to do that. Is
he going to play this week? Is he a chance to get in?
He's a chance. There's a few to put their hand up. Chris Mayne was good. Josh Dacos, Jamie Elliott for Solo and De Goey. So they're all
Starting to
sort
get
of
some
playing.
soldiers back now.
Yeah, their list is really healthy. I think there's Levi, Wellesley, and Darcy who won't be able to put their hand up this week, but I'm sure we'll get probably Wellesley back in either 1 or 2 weeks.
Will Billy come back? When's Billy coming back?
I reckon Billy might play this week. I reckon he played really well on the weekend, but it's going to come down to sports science. Obviously, we know he's a good enough player to walk in.
Bloody sports science.
So hang on, what does that mean? So what is it a minutes thing? Is it what is it?
Well, I think it's going to be if he's got enough training under his belt,
Okay.
and he's not prone to injury. So
Get him in there.
yeah, he's good enough to walk straight in. I reckon.
When I hear sports science, I think that a guy's going to come in a white jacket with goggles on, with pens in the top
Pens in the
corner, and
top
say, "Yes, you can play. No, you can't."
Got to get him in there. 5 snags. A pretty impressive performance by the Collingwood VFL boys.
Yeah, they were good, weren't they?
On the weekend. Kicked
They
200
were really good.
points.
Yeah, they were good.
Am I right in sensing you're feeling pretty confident about things at the moment? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but just with how things are rolling, I know you only won 2 and it's early in the season, that things are feeling different to last year and better.
I'm certainly not getting ahead of myself here.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But
no, well, I think you got to have some sort of swagger and confidence about you. Otherwise, you're just going to go out there and get rolled every week. So, no, we'll travel to Adelaide tomorrow and think that we can beat them. We should have beaten them last year, and we can beat them this week. So, yeah, I'm confident. Ask me in 2 weeks' time.
We will see how it goes. Keep the swagger and take it with you to Adelaide, and hopefully that performance from last week and the week before against GWS continues against the Crows. Friday night footy, and we'll be all watching, mate. We'll see how you go. Good luck.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.